G'day ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Draw with Jazza. I'm Jazza, and as many of you watching this know, I made a 3D pen video a couple of weeks ago, and that video got a lot more of a reaction and a lot more attention than I anticipated, with over 600,000 views in a couple of weeks and over 10,000 comments in response to me asking you what you wanted to see me create with these 7 boxes of extra filament. In this video, I'm going to take a look at those top comments and see what we can come up with. Before I jump into it, I want to thank Scribbler first of all for sending me the Scribbler so I could make the last video, and of course the extra filament so I could make this one. But they actually contacted me after the last video up and were pretty taken aback by the attention it got as well, and being excited for this video coming out. They're being super cool and giving you guys a discount with the coupon code DRAWWithJazza, which gets you 20% off, which is awesome of them, and they're giving this channel a 10% commission from any purchase made through the link in the card and in the description. So if you want to grab a 3D pen at 20% off and support this channel at the same time, that's like a super cool way to do it. So huge thank you to Scribbler for setting that up. So let's jump straight into it. Time to check out some top comments. And the top comment is, drum roll please, Adam Razor 555, who says, I'm gonna draw a hexagon, draws octagon. So let me get this. In the video that I uploaded that has the biggest response to an upload in a long time, with over 10,000 comments, the comment you guys put to the top mocks my understanding of shape names. I'm just drawing a hexagon. You guys are a bunch of dickheads. Alright, no, let's get back to work. Okay, so now to your actual requests. I'm seeing 2 themes that are really commonly upvoted. One, and what seems to be the most upvoted, is for me to create a 3D pen Jazza avatar, so that could be cool. Someone says to build a Jazza avatar who is drawing, so I thought it could be cool to have the Jazza avatar holding a pencil. That might be fun. But then the other vein of a lot of requests is to create a dragon. These are all requests that have been all hugely upvoted, and I think thematically can fit together. And because I'm a people pleaser, I'm just going to try and do all of them. So ladies and gentlemen, using the lessons that I've learned from my little play around with the 3D pen, I am going to create a scene of a Jazza avatar holding a pencil as a weapon, facing the foe of a dragon who is mounted upon a medieval castle. I am also a glutton for punishment. Let's get started. First things first, it's time to set up, so I begin by opening all the boxes of filament and dividing the filament into ABS and PLA boxes, essentially because the 3D pen has 2 settings for the 2 types of plastic which melt at different temperatures. The ABS is a really strong type of plastic. It melts at a slightly higher temperature, but it also has a really strong end result. With all the filaments sorted, it's now time to start 3D drawing, and first things first, I put on some rubber gloves, and not for any practical reason other than the fact that I wanted to feel a little bit like a surgeon. And the good news is it worked. I sort of felt like a badass surgeon, which was cool. Anyways, my first attempts to creating a Jazza avatar head was sort of done freestyle, just using the mat as a bit of a guide and trying to just draw on that. But those attempts sort of went awry, and I realized I needed a little bit more of a foundational guide to follow. I found and used a little plastic ball from my son's toy box, which I used as the foundation for the head shape, adding a little bit more mass at the bottom for a jaw area, and I also left a blank areas for where the eyes and mouth would go, and built up a bit of a nose. And once I added all the core aspects of the face, including a little bit of white in for the eyes and teeth, I could pull the face off and use the ball again for the other side of the head, which would eventually be the hair, following the same sort of hair line which would eventually be joined later on. And this is where I started to freestyle outside of the ball a bit more by pulling the 3D pen outwards and creating sort of spikes of hair being blasted back by a dragon's breath. After joining the hair and the head together and filling in a few of the details, it was time to move on to the rest of the body, and of course, having had such success with my little ball as a guide, I went back to my son's toy box and found a big bowl of plastic fruit. For the rest of this entire video, I used my son's plastic toy fruit as guides for the body parts of the different characters, and it worked astoundingly well. This banana was quite helpful. The legs were a little bit more freestyle, improvised, using the board to start off with for the shape of the bottom of the pant legs, but then sort of drawing mid-air for the rest of the pants and then filling in the gaps, creating a bit of a wire mesh that I used then to fill in later. I used a helpful little sausage to create the arms of the character, and then to make my pencil I used, well, a pencil as a guide. I used the 3D pen essentially to trace the filament onto the pencil, and it was cool because it kept that same hexagonal shape. Wait, is it hexagon? Crap, now I have to check. has 6 sides. Hex? Is hex 6? Hang on, I have to Google this. How many sides in hexagon? Enter Google. Says 6 sides, okay. Using the hexagonal shape of the pencil as my guide. Thank you very much, you shape-critical bastards. The pencil was particularly hard to remove the filament from, but I put the pencil in the freezer and then with a good yank it eventually came out. Good yank. Grow up. I essentially improvised, piecing all of the parts of the character together, gluing it all together with the appropriate coloured filaments, mostly either the red of the shirt or the skin colour filament, which was actually a wood filament. Moving on to the castle, it was pretty straightforward to create this because I did have a little bit of practice, where in the last video I made a little house. This time it was just going to be a bit bigger. I drew 4 rectangular frames, each roughly the same size, using a ruler to give me a little bit of accuracy and guidance. And once I had those, I pinned them down one at a time with some blue tack at the corners and held them in a straight position while I drew on the brickwork, and this held them in as square a shape as I possibly could until it was then time to put them together. And to make sure I got a nice square edge, I used the edge of the box and glued the outside of 2 of the pieces twice, then glued the inside of those pieces, and then finally pieced those 2 pieces of 2 pieces together into one rectangular cubic object. Yes, that was all a very convoluted way of saying I made a box. Placing this box vertically on my table surface, I drew with a 3D pen in a square with an extended outer edge that I joined with some brickwork or fake brickwork in the middle, and went after filling the inside square with a bunch of wood brown filament in long planks with some simple joining bits in the middle just to make sure it didn't get too floppy. I used this whole piece as a topper for my rectangle, and then I joined 4 extra pieces with the varying heights of the brickwork on the edge of the building, which I'm not entirely sure what the formal wording for is and don't really care, but in the end the point is I made a castle. Yay! Now moving on to the toy dragon, of course, it's time to return to the toy fruit. Starting off with a lovely pear as the base for our dragon head, creating the top half. I remove it from the pear and use the same pear to do the lower jaw using a smaller surface area of the pear, which is then added to the top half of the head's wireframe, and I did connect it at the jaw, creating an open-mouthed dragon. I create an upper torso base for the dragon using a lovely tomato as a guide. I work on the top half and the bottom half at the same time on the same model, which I then snip in half to remove in 2 pieces and then reconnect without the guide in the middle. For the tail of our dragon, we move on to our lovely banana guide, and for the legs there wasn't, believe it or not, a very fitting piece of fruit, so I improvised this one by creating 2 flat leg shapes, holding one of them above the other and connecting it in midair with the 3D pen, creating a bit of an improvised wire mesh, which actually worked quite well. And after adding a few more wires to the mesh, I connect it to the fledgling body of the dragon and then improvise similarly with some little arms. At this point our dragon looks a lot more like a cute little dinosaur, which I thought was kind of cool, but I did need to of course make it more like a, dragon. So this was where I moved on to creating the wings, and I moved on to some flexible filament and used the green color flexible filament to basically just draw out the raw shape of the wings, and then I went back to my solid filament to add the bones or the structure of the wings, which I slightly bent inwards and then connected where all of the pieces converge, which helped create a few little organic folds in the wings shape so they didn't look so flat and rigid. I put the wings aside so I could connect them at the end of creating my dragon character, because having them on at this stage when I wanted to fill in all of the surface area of the dragon would be really intrusive. Filling in the surface area of any character, in particular one with quite a lot of surface area like this dragon, is very time consuming. It can actually be quite a fun process though if you put on a good audiobook. You sort of get in a bit of a zone and really enjoy seeing it slowly come together. I used one of the wood color PLA materials to go onto the head as horns, and then I used some black plastic to do some outlines for the eyes of the dragon and for the mouth. And then last but not least, I went back to my dragon's wings and connected them to his body using the same plastic that is on the body and the wings. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. I have finished. Ooh, sweaty. I have finished my epic 3D pen scene, which includes a castle and a dragon and a Jazzer fit for battle. The dragons are like, "Rah!" and Jazzers are like, "I shall vanquish thee." I'm quite proud of the fact that the dragon stands upright and he has little floppy wings that he can like flap. They don't flap very well unless you sort of make them flap, but they're still pretty durable, which is kind of cool. Jazzer, on the other hand, can't stand up. At the end of the day, I'm not that coordinated, so I feel like that's pretty, you know, accurate. All things considered, I'm pretty happy with how they turned out. The dragon is like this chibi little cutesy proportion dragon, and I think they go together pretty well. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you feel like I succeeded in this little challenge. It took a little longer to do than I expected to fill in all the gaps, but once finished, they're like really solid little things. I should probably stop bashing them around, but yeah. I guess we'll finish off this video by clarifying what I think is the most important lesson I learned while using this 3D pen to create a little bit more of an ambitious set, and that is, if you're going to get yourself a 3D pen, make sure to get yourself a whole bunch of children's play fruit as well, because they act as really good little guides for your sculpting. I mean, who'd have thought this banana was really useful? And after all that, ladies and gentlemen, I have a huge amount of filament left. So it turns out when you get the boxes of this stuff, it lasts a pretty decent amount of time. I'm going to regret saying this. Leave a comment in the comment section below for an idea for a future potential 3D pen piece for me to create using the rest of my filament. Thanks for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and until next time, I'll see you later! Make sure to subscribe to my channel to see more of my videos. And while you're at it, check out my shop where I sell ebooks, brushes, photo references, video courses, and more. There's another video you might enjoy from my channel over there, and you can also check out my behind the scenes daily vlog channel, Daily Jazzer. That's it for now, and until next time, I'll see you later.